Okay, so let's talk about Sibelius. Now, Sibelius is the rival competitor with Finale, and what they have is a great host of software that has so many commands in the command room, and you can literally spend hours in front of the computer. You can also do an endless amount of stuff uh, with this program, from putting different devices, inputting notes, to triplets, respelling, arranging, repeating, transpose from interval to different interval, or from one key to another. All of these different things are grouped into different sections on the software. So when you open, let's say I don't have this open, I'm going to go ahead and save and close. That's how you save and close. And then what I will do, here's what the main window will look like. You can see this up here. And you can also see these ribbons. This is what this called. They call it a command ribbon. And so you have your different tabs. You have your save, save as, open, which just basically opens the previous score. Let's say I open that one up. Or you have info, which is right here. Appending basically matches one score to another in a group. So you can do all of that there. And then you've got recent. You've got your print options. You can see how it looks. And you could see, you could view manually both sides. You can print to PDF too, I think. Yeah. So add date and time footer. Or you could share. Now this feature is really useful, and we'll dig into this more within the course, where we're getting ready to publish or to share our work. That's going to be in that section. And then we have all of these different strategies of sharing, from exporting to sharing PDFs via email. You can click send email down here. You can send the score, you can send the PDF file, the SIB file, Sibelius file, that's what that is. Or other words, you can send audio, export score only, And then we have the actual export menu, which basically gives you all of these different options. And this is one of my favorite things about this, is you can export the audio, you can export to video right from the application, you can export from to PDF. You have many different options on how you do it. You could do score only, conductor score only in this case. You can do score and parts all in one file, score and all parts separate files each, all parts only separate files, all parts only one file as a set. So selection of separate files, you select your parts to export, and selection of parts one file. It'll combine whatever parts to export that you select into one PDF for you. So that's how that'll work. Then we have graphics. This is all about if you wanted to stick this in, let's say you had a musical excerpt that you wanted to stick in a paper, for instance, or a book. If you're doing a book on notation, or if you're doing a theory book, or some sort of method book, this is perfect for you guys. You can just basically browse your images, browse your scores, put those in into your documents. And then we have Avid Scorch. That's the platform that lets you download scores, practice them on your iPad. You can send them to your students or your friends or whoever. Now this one is actually very important as well. This is one of the most important features that I use when working with clients, because the clients will ask me, hey, I'm trying to do this score. I want you to arrange this score for an orchestra, or for band, or whatever, but I need it in a Sibelius, either a Muse score file or a Finale file, rather. But if I'm using Sibelius, there's a mismatch there. They're not going to be able to open the SIB file, or vice versa. So what you're able to do is to export the music XML, which basically is the codec language, the coding language that is put into the software to make it show musical notation. So you can choose either uncompressed, or you can choose compressed at MXL. I usually choose uncompressed because, it's just, I don't really care about the size too much. If you have a limited email, you might want to go compressed, just in case the score is a huge one. And then we have Midi. You can select from all these here. Current sounds and playback device. You could select how you want the sounds played. You want whichever type, which we'll go over a little bit in there. And if you want to omit certain instruments, you can do that as well. Or if somebody has an earlier version of Sibelius, here's a list of versions, previous versions of Sibelius, that you can make sure you, if somebody has these previous versions, you can give your Sibelius 2020 or 2021 score, in this case, to a Sibelius 6 user, and they could still open it, which is pretty cool. And last but not least, Manuscript Paper. Now let's say you wanted blank orchestral paper, blank band paper, choral and song and chamber groups. This is where you would export blank manuscript paper that you set up. You can create it, and then you can export it to PDF or manuscript paper, PDF, so that people can write by hand, or you can make sketches by hand. And that's a really cool feature to use as well. So that is just this section. Home, you have a whole bunch of different sections. Pasting, cut, copy, capture idea, select a graphic, add or remove instruments, change instruments, transposing score, which allows you to transpose it up or down by interval or by key. Staff, that's the little staff above that shows you how to play a certain trill or play a certain technique. In notation form, you can add, delete, or split measures or join them. Filters. You can filter for bar numbers. as long as you have stuff selected. Let's say you have a couple of bars that you want to select. You can go boom, and you can go filter, and it will give you those bar numbers. It'll select from 22 to 24 or whatever I did. So those are your filters. Then you have bars. You could select from bar 25 to 30, and it automatically selects it for you. You could select a system passage, which is the whole thing, the whole system, or whole part of a system, or you can select more, which that'll give you more options to use. And then we have hide or show. You can hide or show basic any dynamic mark, tempo marking, crescendo, decrescendo, all that stuff. Different articulations like accents, staccatos. You can hide those in score, hide them in parts, or show them in all, or hide or show. The next part is color. Now, this is good for when you are trying to make notation for students, or for different sort of, if you're trying to decorate your notation with color to differentiate the different sections. Like, let's say you have one melody is one color, one melody is the next color. That's what you use this for. Or theory books use colored notes to help students with their sight reading. So this is a good tool for that as well. And then you can find measures. You can find different text, lines, different clefs, symbols. This is like a overall dialogue box of things that you can find that can help you with your score. And then you have go to bar. This is where you can skip to sections really quickly. And that's a very useful function when you don't have a lot of time on your hands and you're really driving on a project and you really need to get it done. You can always say go to bar, or let's say I say go to page 2. Alright, here's page 2. Page 1 is the title page. Or you could flip that, flip it back, or you can go Command X. And then we have the inspector, which basically this means if we select some stuff, we can do all sorts of things with the text. We can do all sorts of things with visibility, with playback, with how the bar, what's shown in the bars, even down to the notes and possibly the bar lines here. You know? So there's a lot of useful stuff that you can do with this. And this is helpful when you need help decorating triplets or sextuplets or different tuplets everywhere. I find that interesting, I find that useful. Then you have the share. So if I click out of this, you have this. And it opens up a thing for cloud sharing. I don't have the service available, but there are a lot of people who may. So then you have different plugins. We may not be able to go through every plugin in this course. That'll be another Sibelius course that I do. But these are some useful useful hints to get you creating in a hurry. And then commands. This is for if you really need to find a different command and you don't know which of these, if you can't find it, you can use this, or, and it'll give you the key commands, Or you could type in a search like turn note into grace note. Okay, well, if you actually complete the command and go OK, it'll turn it into grace notes. So that's the end of this ribbon. That's the file and home ribbons. Then we have all of these, which I think we will split up into the next measure. I think I'll split up into the node input into the next section.